Hi everybody, my name is Victor Perez from Autodesk, and in this video I will be guiding you through how to use constraints and limits inside of VRED 2026.1. And it's great because it allows you to do so many things that required animations before in just a couple of minutes, as you'll see. So if you have a look at my display, you see that we have the example Genesis design car in here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try to turn the front wheels with the steering wheel. To do that, we're going to open Genesis here to the left. I'm going to open the interior and the tires as well. And first of all, we want to align the tires straight so that any modification that we do afterwards is starting from zero and not from the turned state. So in this case, I'm going to go to the transform editor. And if I zoom right here, you can see that it's set to -28. So we're going to be setting that to 0. And in this case, I'm going to do the same thing on the front right. So -28, set it to 0. There you go. Second thing that we are going to be doing is we're going to select the steering wheel. We're going to select the left and right tires, and we're going to isolate them by just drag and dropping. As you can see, we now have them isolated. I'm going to select the steering wheel, and the first thing that we want to do is we want the front tires to rotate on the Z-axis, as you can see right here. And we need to align that Z-axis with the Z-axis on the steering wheel for them to be coordinated. So to do that, we're simply selecting the steering wheel. I'm going to double right click so that we're centered on the steering wheel as well. And you can see on the rotation that we can show the axis. That axis right now is set on 0. So in this case, we're showing, as you can see here, we're showing the Z-axis. And you can see it's placed in the middle of the scene. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is on the rotation pivot that you see here on the transform, we're going to move it to the object center. So now it's set to the center of the steering wheel itself. And we're going to be needing to rotate it as well. So we're going to rotate it to around 70 degrees here. So now it's aligned with the steering wheel, pretty much aligned. And then we're going to move on the Z-axis to 500, just a bit lower so that it's centered. So now if we click and rotate the steering wheel itself, you see that it's more or less rotating around the center. It's close enough for what we want to do here. So now to the second step, we want to go into Scene up here, so Scene, and we go down to Constraint Editor. So if you click there, you can see that we've just opened the Constraint Editor. And here, the first thing we're going to do is click onto the plus here. So create constraint, and we want to create an orientation constraint. As you can see, if we open it, it's creating two subnodes. First one is a target node. So the target node is the node from which we are taking the value, so the rotation in this case, which is the steering wheel. And the second node is the constraint nodes. So it's the nodes to which we are applying this rotation. So in this case, if I zoom out again, we're going to be dragging the steering wheel to the target nodes, and we're going to be dragging the front tires to the constraint nodes. And now it's really as simple as that. If we click on the steering wheel and we make the rotation, they are now rotating together. But it doesn't make a lot of sense because you can keep rotating there forever, right? So if you see down here onto the transform editor, we have rotation limits now. Funny enough, if you enable the rotation limits, you still have to click onto the checkbox here, otherwise they won't be applied. So if we make the rotation limit from -60, let's say, to 60, and we don't click on that box, now when we rotate, nothing's happening. You can keep rotating. But if we go back and just click this checkbox here, now it has limits. So it doesn't matter how much I try to rotate the steering wheel, it won't work. One last thing, what happens if you want the steering wheel and the rotation to have a different ratio, let's say? You can do that here. So you see that we have a scaling factor here in the tires. So you can modify the scaling factor so that it's, let's say, 2. And now, theoretically, so for every 60 degrees that I'm turning, the front left tire is turning 120. So it's running twice as much as it's the steering wheel. So then you can have the final ratio of your transformation to the degree that you want. So thanks a lot for having watched this video. I hope it was interesting, I hope it was useful, and yeah, have a lot of fun with constraints.